Brian Christopher, you're saying, he had to deal with a lot of heat and stuff that necessarily was or wasn't necessarily his fault.
Very, very much so. Brian got a lot of heat from his old man. Same as I did. But my dad basically was, it's kind of like me. He was straight up for a straightforward kind of guy. And, like when he would go into a new company as a booker, my dad would fire everybody, but he would have him a job in Memphis or in Louisiana or somewhere waiting, you know what I mean? And then he would bring in a new crew, and that's what you got to do to redo. But Brian got a lot of heat because of his dad, because most people ain't got the guts or the balls to confront Lawler, so they just take it out on Brian. Brian got a lot of heat that really he didn't deserve. But Brian was an asshole too, so I mean he was a Lawler. Lawlers and Dundee, they're like the Hatfields and the McCoys, man. We don't want nobody messing with them, but we gotta our whole life it's been that way. The Lawler Dundee feud it goes from my mom and his mom all the way down to our grandchildren, I think.
Yeah, definitely. With Brian Lawler, obviously Brian Christopher, with his death, do you think it was a suicide, or do you think there was something else at play? Because Jerry obviously thinks something else was at play.
Of course, everybody would think that as your child. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to think that their child would take their own life. But Brian had been at my house for a few months prior to his death, and he had stayed with me for weeks and weeks. And Brian was in a dark place, man. And a lot of people get into dark place. It don't matter how much money you got, what color you are, what religion you are, where you're from. Everybody gets into a dark place sometime in their life. They just do. And Brian, I love Brian. Brian is my brother. I miss Brian a lot. I think of Brian all the time. But also, I'm mad at Brian. To me, Brian did it. And Brian took the what I call the bitch way out, the coward's way out, and that wasn't Brian. Brian was no coward, but he it was one of those things. When you're so far down in life, everybody's bottom's different, and Brian just felt that Brian, nothing Brian did was correct. Everything Brian did at the beginning was right. Brian worked out. Brian trained. Brian had a big house. Brian had the big cars. Brian had the big paychecks. And it was kind of like Brian was looking for something that he couldn't get. And I don't know if it was the approval from Daddy. I don't know what it is. You know what? I just know that me and Brian just spoke many days and nights on a level, just two brothers. You know what I mean? We grew up the same people. Our dads were the exact same people. They were egotistical pricks that were above the world. And it's hard to separate that on family and all, and that's the sad part about it. With anybody that's in the entertainment profession. After the big ride to the top goes, after that, there's only one place to go, and that's down. And most people can't handle the fall from grace. Most people can. That's why most wrestlers OD and die alone in a hotel room at 35 or 40 years old, because once you reach the top, there's nowhere to go but down, and most people can't handle that. I guess I was a little different. I accepted that everything that happened in my career or in my life, I accept that it's because of what I did, and first and foremost, you got to admit to yourself it's your fault, because we all are in control of our own lives, our own destiny. When the road takes a fork, it's your choice which way in that fork you go. Sometimes it's the right way, sometimes it's the wrong way. But I mean, there's so many people. Brian was just, to answer your question. Yes, I believe that 100% in my heart that Brian took his own life and he hung himself, and I believe that, and I'll always believe that. And most people, especially as a father or as you don't want to believe that. You just don't want to believe that. But here's the thing, man. It is what it is, and the bottom line is nothing's going to bring Brian back. So it's a tragedy. And once again, if anybody haven't seen the Iron Claw, it's such a tragedy, man. The entertainment world, it's just so. That's why I hate it so much as I love it, because it's just never ends well, man. For those that can't handle that fall from grace, man. They just me. I accept it. I know my wrestling world's over, but I don't care, because I had a hell of a ride and I had a hell of a lot of fun. And like I said millions of times, and I'll say it again, Bill Dundee and Bobby Eaton are my family, and we were the top of wrestling at the time. There was none better than our family, and now they're all gone, and I don't wrestle no more, and I don't miss it. I really don't. I welcome what comes now, which is family, and that's another thing in the wrestling world. It's all about loyalty and family and all that. But in the end, man, yeah, there ain't none, bro. There's no. I saw a thing the other day with Tommy Dreamer and Paul Heyman and all them sitting down at the table, and Tommy Dreamer begins to cry because he says, "We all know you screwed us, Paul. We all know you took our money, but it was the greatest time in my life, and I wouldn't take nothing for it." And people, those that have never been able to walk the aisle and feel that rush, that adrenaline pump that you get, man, from 16,000, 5,000, all the way up to 80,000 people at the Alamo Dome, when they're booing you when you're a heel or they're cheering you when you're a baby face, bro. There's nothing more exciting and nothing better than that. But all good things must end, man. And that's the wholly bad part about becoming a celebrity. Everybody wants what's on the other side of the fence. Everybody thinks it's, oh, I can't wait to get. But what about when it's over? Because nobody ever looks at that side. Nobody ever says, what happens when I go to the top and then I start to head back down? Nobody ever sees that side. Nobody wants to think of that side. But I guess to answer your question, I myself 100% believe that yes, Brian took his own life, and I hate it, and I'm mad about it now because to me it was a coward's way out, man. And Brian was no coward, but you never know what nobody else is going through.
Absolutely. Now, just changing gears here, because obviously
Sure,
PG-13, everybody knows JC Ice, Wolfie D. Guys
sure,
wrestled everywhere. WCW, ECW, WWF,
sure,
Smoky Mountain, USWA.
sure enough.
How did the team come together? Why Wolfie? And why did the chemistry work so well together?
It's one of those things that somebody else has to see it. You don't see it. Like me and Wolfie were wrestling in these outlaw towns against each other. He was Sir Wolfie D. He had the shorts on, and he was just the little rapper kind of guy because that's where he grew up. I grew up in Hendersonville, Tennessee. I was a country music kind of kid, but I was still coming off of the JC Ice, the Ice Ice Baby thing that I was doing on USWA. And so me and Wolfie are wrestling outlaw towns, and a guy named Chris Champion says, you know what, you two should do that together. He said, y'all shouldn't work each other. You should do it together because you're both good at it. And tag teams it's hard to take two guys and just stick them together and make it work. You know what I mean?
Yep.
A lot of people just sticking two guys together, it just ain't gonna work. But me and Wolfie, from the moment we started working each other, and then the moment we started working together, it just clicked, man. It was kind of like Ricky and Robert. Ricky and Robert just clicked, bro. And me and Wolfie really started. So we got together. We started doing it, working in the outlaw towns, and we did an outlaw show with Jeff Jarrett. And Jeff said, "Man, if y'all showed this to my dad," said, "This is good stuff, man." And so I said, "No." He said, "Man, show this to my dad." So I called Jerry Jarrett, and for like 2 or 3 weeks, I call him, and he says he's going to meet us. And I drive from Kentucky, and Wolfie lives in Nashville. I meet Wolfie, and then he gives us some excuse. I'm sick this week. I need to do this week, yada, yada. And so finally, like the third week, I'm like, look, bro, come on, Jerry, just give me 5 minutes of your time, man. That's all I need, 5 minutes. If you don't like it, we'll go away. I'm tired of driving down here and you just blowing us off. So, of course, he lets us come into the mansion, and we go up to the big mansion, and I say, Wolfie, if we can get him to smile, he'll give us a job. So we go in there and we put on the shorts and we put on all that stuff. And we had little fake gold teeth, and we put them in, and he's just looking at it. And then I put the hubcap around my neck. He says, "What is that?" And I say, "That's the finish." And then he starts to smile, and I tell Wolfie, he's going to give us a job. And he said, "This is what I'm going to do." He said, "Boys, we're going to make videos for 4 weeks." Well, of course, being two young guys, I don't want to make videos. I want to wrestle. He said, "Just listen to me. We're going to make videos for 4 weeks, and we're going to run them for 4 weeks straight. And by the 5th week, when you get there, these people will be happy as hell to see you." And sure enough, once again, something Jerry Jarrett comes up with obviously works because that dude was so, his mind was so, he could think of 6 or 10 weeks ahead and see it, you know what I mean, when nobody else could even imagine it. He was just that good. And sure enough, when me and Wolfie hit that TV studio, everybody was going, "Hey, oh, hey," and they never billed me as Bill Dundee's son or nothing at that time. We just showed up, and we're two little skinny kids, but kind of like the old mosquito deal. We just stick, take all the bumps, fly everywhere, and then hit them with a hubcap, 1, 2, 3, and run away. And the people they just loved it. It got over like hell. And Jerry Jarrett's like, "Man, we're gonna have to switch you boys. These people love y'all." Kind of like Stone Cold, as you were talking about, Steve. That was
Yep.
WWF made Steve with the screw you and the FUs and the beer. They wanted him to be a heel, and the world loved it because that's really what the world's about.
So obviously you and Wolfie then great tag team, great chemistry. Do you still talk to Wolfie today? What's the relationship like
Sure,
with Wolfie
sure,
now?
sure. Oh yeah, I'll always, me and Wolfie are we have two different lives. He still wrestles sometime, but he just had hip surgery. But I mean, he still entertains, and in me, I just it's one of those because for those that don't know, JC Ice, he was a crazy dude, man. you can go back and watch some things on YouTube of JC Ice. That dude's crazy, man. So I try to keep that dude, put away because, like I say, it's about family now, and some things you do in life you just can't take back. And JC Ice was crazy. That dude didn't give it. He don't care. He don't care about nothing, but he loves to have fun. He's wilder than a buck, and he'll say anything to anybody. And so I try to keep that dude put away. So every now and then, like in the last year, I went with Wolfie and we did a couple conventions in New York and stuff like that. And I got to see a bunch of guys I haven't seen in 20 years. But as far as there's nothing left in that world for me, man. You know what I mean? I did WrestleMania. Once you go to the top, there's nowhere to go but down. I would have liked to have done 5 WrestleManias, but it don't matter. I did a WrestleMania, and most of the people watching this show will never get to say they did. So to me,
Absolutely.
for sure. So I went to the Super Bowl of wrestling, and I accept that it's over for me. It's over for me for decisions I made. It's over for me for my drug abuse. It's over for me. But here's the thing: I'm glad it's over because all that comes together. Every time I go to a wrestling show, it brings back the JC Ice, and I want to drink and I want to snort coke and so I don't have time for that no more. You know what I mean, man? I've been clean and sober for 15 years of my life, and it's a slow life compared to the life that we led. It's really slow and boring. But I talk to Wolfie at least a couple of times a year for sure. Christmas, his birthday, things like that, because that dude will always be a part of my life. I love that guy. But we have different choices in life today, and my life is slow and humble now, and I kind of like it because I never had a slow and humble life. My life has always been over the top and always loud and just always just JCI's Dundee and wrestling every night and performing. I went to my first concert just like 8 years ago. I was like 44 years old or something before I went to my very first concert, because people don't understand that. But my family and my life, I was the concert. So there was no time for other things. It was wrestle Memphis on Monday, Louisville Tuesday, Evansville Wednesday, Nashville Saturday, and then we started getting over. We started flying to ECW on Friday. At one time, me and Wolfie worked Monday Night Raw for WWF, Tuesday and Wednesday for Lawler. Then we get on the plane and go Thursday and Friday and Saturday for ECW, and then Sunday for Smoky Mountain, and then start again. We did that for a long time. That's 5 major organizations in a week, bro. That's it's kind of hard to fathom now. I'm like, wow, man. And plus, I'm so out of shape, and I just it's something that I love it. I love it. I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for all my fans that were there. But to me, my life in the wrestling world's over, man. And I'm not mad about it. I love it. My granddaughter's here visiting now, and she's seeing all my stuff for the first time in my I Love Jamie room, and she's like, The Rock, and Stone Cold, this guy, and that's pretty cool to me. But that was it's just such a terrible world. In the end, I just can't. I'm so glad I'm away from it, but I'm thankful for all it gave my family, for real.
You mentioned WrestleMania, you mentioned WWF. How did you guys get into WWF? Is that the connection with Jared McMahon, the USWA thing?
It was kind of both. It was kind of but actually Jimmy Cornette. Wolfie was talking with Jimmy Cornette about stuff from OVW or something, because at that time I was in jail. And so Wolfie was doing the Slash gimmick, and he was working in OVW. And by the way, like I say, John Cena, I ain't mad at you, but I still think you stole my gimmick, bro. I mean, OVW, you were Wolfie was Slash, and you were the Prodigy, and all of a sudden you got a pair of shorts on and a spinner. You upgraded the hubcap. I ain't mad at you, bro, but I mean, come on, it is what it is. But at that time, Wolfie was talking with of course, like you said, Vince was bringing in every Monday night. There was a new WWF star working Lawler in Memphis, and Vince was there, and he watched us working when we did the little smoking gun deal. They brought us in as the chance. We worked with the smoking guns. Excuse me. And he just said, wow, they're just really small. Because, especially up there, we were really, really small for up there. But the Lightning Kid, Sean had just got a little break there as the 1, 2, 3 kid, So they were bringing in the junior heavyweights or whatever they called them. And And really, we were small guys up there. I mean, them guys are monsters, bro. That ring is, 21 by 21 or something. Most rings are 16 by 16. It ain't two steps across their ring. It's three and a half. You see what I'm saying? It's
Yep.
because there's big dudes up there, man. I mean, the Undertaker and Yokozuna and just the Road Warriors. And I mean, all them dudes are monsters, bro. The smallest guy besides me and Whoopi was Paul Bearer, and he was damn near 6 foot at 300 pounds. And so I was like, wow. And we really realized how small we was when you go up there in that land of giants. But also, we take that Memphis style, and you can use that in anywhere on this planet. You can take Memphis style wrestling and stick it in any company, and it will get over. But you can't bring any company style wrestling and bring it to Memphis and think it'll get over. It ain't gonna work, because Memphis has seen so much and done so much and been through so much of the wrestling entertainment world that it's hard to get Memphis to believe or buy anything. And so we could take our style anywhere. We went to Mexico with it, Puerto Rico, Canada. We went to everywhere we went. They would say, "You do you." Like, ECW never seen nothing like me and Wolfie. With the dancing and the bullshitting and the comedy, and you never seen nothing like that. Every single match they're flying over the rope and they're going through chairs and tables. And so when we brought our little funny Memphis style, it got over because they never saw nothing like that. And that's kind of like what did our whole career, I guess. The hubcap and the difference. Everybody expects a wrestler to be a big, huge, jacked up dude, and here's these two little skinny guys that just fly and take bumps everywhere, but they always win because they cheat, and that's how the South survived. You got to get sympathy on the baby faces and heat on the heels, or the South wasn't going to draw.
Very, very true. What did you think about, like you mentioning, obviously John Cena, which he did. I mean, he stole the gimmick, but what about the Nation of Domination, the rap, that stuff? Did you like that or no?
Me, myself, just want to get paid. I'm like I said, at that time in life, I'm 25, 26 years old. Every one of them big mega stars, my dad had already fired. Shawn
Yeah.
Michaels came to my dad and got his first job through Jose Lothario when my dad was booking Bill Watts in Louisiana. The Undertaker came through Memphis as Mean Mark Callis. Or, I knew every one of these dudes when they were first and second matches. So, when we went to the WWF, I guess it was kind of one of those, I felt I was a bigger star than them. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew my dad fired all these dudes. These dudes can't tell me nothing about my sport or my business that I didn't already know. And then I think we were supposed to go there as the be quiet, shut up little guys. And when we got there, but like I said, my reputation precedes me, man. When you call Jamie Dundee, it ain't like you go, I wonder who this guy is. It ain't like they didn't know who they were calling when they called Dundee to fly up there. And Wolfie, when we landed, they flew us up to Connecticut, and they give us some money and say, go buy these outfits. We buy the trench coats and and then they fly us up and they say, write a rap song. And I was like, write a rap song? I don't. What is he talking about? Wolfie's like, I don't know. He wants us to write a rap song. So Wolfie growing up in that generation of rappers and stuff, Run DMC and Aerosmith was the closest I got to rapping, when they did Walk This Way. I
Yep.
grew up in Hendersonville, Tennessee with country music, Hank Williams Jr. and David Allan Coe and Bobby Bear and so my neighbors were Conway Twitty and friggin' Johnny Cash. So that's what I grew up on. But Wolfie grew up on the other side of Nashville. So he knew the rap. So Wolfie wrote the rap song. And it took him a while to get me in the rhythm of being able to sing that song, because but I mean, it paid us $500 a night to perform, and we could wrestle anywhere else we wanted to within our contract, and they pay for everything. Shit, let me take that deal. So I learned to rap, and so I tell my kids and my grandkids, your daddy's a professional rapper. Professional means you get paid. I got paid to rap. That's what I did. I was a rapper. I didn't know it, but Wolfie actually was the rapper of the duo. After we did the gimmick in the buildings, when I went in my car, I put in Hank Williams Jr. or David Allan Coe or country redneck stuff, and that's what I jammed on all the way home. Where the rapping gimmick was just a gimmick to me, but I did whatever. I'm an entertainer, man. On Jerry Springer, I played every part you could play. In the circus, I was a clown and I got shot out of a cannon. I mean, I'm an entertainer. You can get me and ask me to do any part, and I can do it believable. I promise, because that's what I do. I've done it since I was a little bitty boy. And entertainers are that's what we do. We entertain.
So if they say, "Hey, you guys got to take a beating for the Legion of Doom," you guys have no problem taking a beating from those two monsters.
None whatsoever. But I promise, like, if anybody watches that match, when he throws Wolf into the corner, I told Hawk, I said, all I want is this karate spot, bro. And sure enough, he's trying to snap mirror me in and go to the finish. And I'm like, hell no, let me get this in. And that's the entertainer in me. By any means necessary, I got away from him and I got that karate spot in. I did my cartwheel. He clotheslined me and the people went nuts. And 1, 2, 3, because they're the Road Warriors. I mean, they're the Road Warriors. And Road Warriors had beat Moses and Jesus, I think, one time back in WrestleMania 14 or something. I don't know, but I know them dudes are gods. They're mega gods in my sport. They beat everybody in the world. And so for people to say, "Oh, PG-13, y'all got beat, y'all got jobbed out by the Road Warriors." No, we didn't. We got beat by the Road Warriors. There's a difference, brother. The Road Warriors are the Road Warriors, man. That is Hawk and Hannibal, man. They have beat everybody on this planet, and they will beat you and anybody else that don't like it. And that's to me, it was one of my greatest matches ever. As far as we were on WrestleMania against the Road Warriors, and then we did a Monday Night Raw against the Road Warriors. Not many people are going to get to say they did that, man.
Very true.
But we did.
Very
Sure enough,
true.
we did, and I was honored to do it. I couldn't wait to do it. It was the greatest. And once again, I'm an entertainer. I said, "Damn it, Hawk, I'm getting this spot in." And then it was like on WrestleMania, we're supposed to take the double clothesline. We're on the shoulders. Wolfie's on Ahmed's shoulders. I'm on Animal's shoulders. The double clothesline, they said hit and roll. So we double clothesline, we hit, Wolfie rolls, and I just lay there. And old Hawk comes by and he goes, "Roll, Dundee." And I'm laying there and I said, "Hawk, I'm never going to be on WrestleMania again. I ain't rolling nowhere. I'm going to get my time." He said, "Good shit, brother." And I just lay there until the whole nation comes back down, drags me out of the ring, and hauls my ass back up. I don't care. It's WrestleMania. I'm getting my time, baby. Because it is what it is. That's WrestleMania, top of the world, mama. It don't get no bigger than that in my world, man. None. Nothing's bigger than the WrestleMania aisle.
Yeah, WrestleMania 13, that Chicago street fight is awesome. The Nation against
Sure enough.
LOD and Ahmed. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And at the end, they said, "Y'all are going to take that double clothesline. Y'all hit and roll." And I thought, I ain't rolling. That's the Road Warriors, baby. I'm laying here until they come and get me. I don't care if they were sweeping the building up. I was still going to be laying there if they didn't come and get me. But that right there is a believable thing because they're the Road Warriors, bro. It's WrestleMania in Chicago. Their return back at WrestleMania for the Road Warriors. Come on, man. It don't get no bigger than that, baby.
The hell yeah, definitely. Were you supposed to wrestle them again before you guys left or no?
Well, when we did the Monday Night Raw job thing, that was because they cut a long story short, they fired us without, they don't have the balls to tell you you're fired. They just take your plane tickets back and say, "Oh, we got to upgrade them," or some shit like that. And then all of a sudden, we're working all three companies at that time. We're working USWA, we're working WWF and ECW, and we're starting an angle with the Eliminators. We were showing the videos where the Eliminators never beat us in Memphis. I give credit to Cronus and Perry Saturn for getting me and Wolfie over in Memphis because those are two big, tough, badass dudes for real. And the world knew that, and they were stiff, bro. And when me and Wolfie, we were in Memphis, we leave Puerto Rico, Wolfie goes back, and then I come back in, me and Wolfie team back up, and we beat them Eliminators. I believe it shot us to the next level, man, for real. Then people said, "Shit, them boys is pretty tough, whooping them Eliminators," because and Memphis wrestling, believe me, they know, and they know when somebody's stiff, somebody, they see it every week for 40 years. You better be able to convince them people that what you're saying is believable. And so them damn Eliminators, I give them credit for putting us to the next level, and then I give all credit where credit is due to the Rock and Roll Express when they put me and Wolfie over in the Memphis territory when they come in from Smoky Mountain. It just closed down, and we brought them all in. And when the Rock and Roll put us over, that sent us to the superstar level, I guess you could call it. Because it's hard to make them Memphis people believe in you, man. Especially because how many things and how many people they have seen come through. In 40 years, they have seen a lot of stuff. So to make the Memphis people believe and convince them, like I said, you have to believe, and we believed.
Now with WWF though, just to go back, technically you're fired, really? And I mean the plane ticket thing, I guess, is a Jim Ross. I don't know if it's like a
Yeah.
part rib, part whatever, but basically it's a firing, right?
Yeah. Well, I'd already. Some people know whatever. I had showed up to a Monday Night Raw with an $800 cab bill, and I was like 10 hours late, and I was all drugged up and messed up, and missed my airplane flight, and just all kind of stuff. But anyway. And that's where the Ken Shamrock story comes in, where I challenged Kenny, and it's a funny story. But anyway, so that was probably the nail in the coffin. And then, you know, they were already going to disband the nation because they were going to make the black gang, the Mexican gang, the white gang, you know what I mean? Which is what they did. And honestly, me and Wolfie's probably our spot was going to be the spot that the Headbangers were in. You know, the Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher. That was actually where me and Wolfie were supposed to go when the nation split up. We were kind of going to become, you know, like the Headbangers. We were going to go off with the Headbangers and work, and Philip LaFawn and Doug Furness, you know, off in that area and let them gangs be formed. You know what I'm saying? And because of the plane, I blame it on the plane flight and the taxi bill and all that stuff, and being messed up and passed out on the floor and all that. That we were fired in, but it takes, you know, it takes another 3 months to work you out of the angle. You know what I'm saying? And so, but then when they came to us that day, we were working with the Eliminators in the main event of ECW, and then they wanted us to go out on this Monday Night Raw and get squashed by the Road Warriors in like 90 seconds, right?
Yep.
And so I'm no dummy, you know. So I was like, oh, whoa, no, we're not doing that. Let's go, Wolfie. We're leaving. We're not doing that shit. I'm not gonna give up my ECW run for these jackoffs who don't even have the balls to fire. So we load our stuff up and we go to the car. We're leaving. But of course, we went to the Road Warriors first, and we said, listen, Hawk Animal, y'all are Hawk and Animal. This has nothing to do with doing a job for y'all, because, you know, some people's egos, they, you know, and I'm like, listen, you guys are y'all are the Road Warriors. Enough said. This is not about doing a job for you. It's about the way they're doing us. They take the 5 plane tickets back, which means you take $3,000 back from me plus the bonuses on the pay-per-view. Whatever. You see what I'm saying? And that's not okay with me. So we leave the building, and Shawn Michaels comes out, and he's like, Jamie, what's going on, man? I said, man, this is what's going on, Shawn. These jackoffs think that I don't know nothing about it. They're going to try to give me the old, if y'all walk out now, you can never work here again. Don't give me all that shit, man. My daddy made that up when he fired your sorry ass back in 1984. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear none of that garbage. I'm leaving because I'm not getting beat by these dudes and costing my job in ECW. So then Shawn says, this is what I will do for you, Jamie. I will make sure you get your money for the next 5 shows, you know, for the Monday Night Raws like you're supposed to be, if you go to the ring and do this job. And I said, 100%, I believe you. Let's go. Wolfie, we went back in the building. We went to did the little 90-second match with him, and loaded our shit and rolled on out and got paid for the next 5 weeks, thanks to Shawn, because Shawn didn't forget where he came from, you know. He knew that my dad gave him his first job, and he, you know, and that's what happens with most of these people. They get these egos and they forget where they come from, man. You know, Stone Cold never forgot where he came from. He did a show about 5 years ago with Wolfie. Wolfie was building the stage at the awards in Nashville, and Steve was there as the host of the awards. And he's like, where's them damn Dundee? So Wolfie gives Steve my number. Steve calls me and we chat for 2 hours. You know, he never forgets where he came from. You know, he understands what it is to make $25 in a night, and it costs 40 to get there and back. You know, you're already 15 in the hole before you left. He understands that because we did it. But that is the passion of the business. You like anything in the football business, you start in the peewees, and then you go to the little league, and then you go to junior high, and then you go to high school, and then you go to college, and then from college you go to the pros. That's, you pay your dues. And the same in the wrestling world. You start out anywhere you can. You work outlaw groups. You work for free. You know, if you know, because the passion you have for it. You know, I was Bill Dundee's son, Bobby Eaton's brother-in-law, but that don't matter. I still worked for $15 a night, and I still drove 200 miles to make $40. And, you know, because I paid my dues. And that's what most people, when you pay your dues, you respect it, and you earn it, and you love it more. You know, it's a passion. It's not, you know, not to name no names or nothing, but certain people, like if you come from a reality show and then they give you a spot and you're already a spoiled brat because, you know, you already think that you earned it because you didn't earn it. You just got there because you're on a reality show and you're a rating. You know, I mean, I'm just saying in general, you know, anybody that gives the passion and the love for it and will do it for free, no, at any cost, is because they love the business or the sport, no matter what it is. They love it that much. Then definitely when you make it to the top, you appreciate it more. You earned it. You know, it's one of those, I don't know how to explain it to people. It's just, because, you know, in my world, like I said, the same week, every week, you got to make them. When you finally stand in that main event and you look around and that building's packed out with the people, you think, I'll be damned. They believe in me, man. I did this. It's totally different than just coming to town once every 3 months with all the lights and the glamour and drawing the building, and they still got to give away tickets to fill the building up, even then. And to know that you actually drew money in our wrestling business, it's pretty cool ass stuff, man. For real, it's
Yeah.
the only sport. I say it's the only sport in the whole world that I can take 16,000 people. I can stand them up, I can sit them down, I can make them cheer, I can make them boo, I can make them laugh and cry anytime I want them to, because I'm that good at my business. It's my sport. It's what I do. When I'm inside that ring right there, that's the freest part in the world I can be. Can't get no freer, because nobody can bother me, nobody can hurt me, nobody can get to me, because that's my world. That's where I'm at. That's where I feel the most comfortable at. And if people say, if you had a choice and how am I going to die, I want to be right there in the ring, man, getting the 1, 2, 3, and the people popping, and it stops my heart. that's
Yeah.
that's how much that world means to me. But then again, on the other side of the coin, I hate it that much too, because 90% of the time it just don't end good, man. That's the entertainment world in general. You know what I mean? When you can't do nothing for the promoter, you can't make no more money, or if you know anything, they just discard you, man. And it's a shame. It's kind of like that Iron Claw movie. It pisses me off. They never mentioned Chris Von Erich. They said they didn't mention Chris Von Erich because the producer or the director or whatever that idiot's name is said, because it was too much tragedy. That's what the whole story's about. The whole story's about a family that had so much tragedy but had so much fame, glory, and money, and why would you leave Chris out, man? That's just a disgrace. It's a shame. And if I was Kevin Von Erich, I'd have smacked that producer in the mouth, and I said, this ain't going to the movies. Because, I mean, that's my little brother, man. That's Chris, and but that's how the wrestling world, of the entertainment world is, man. If they don't think you'll draw anything, they just discard you and make another one, man. And that's the only bad part about fame and glory and becoming a star, or whatever you want to call it, man, because in the end, man, nobody cares, bro. Nobody but your family.
When you look back, right, and you mentioned Ken Shamrock, you didn't really challenge him, did you?
No, I did, but Ken didn't know who I was. He just knew that some little dude that showed up 9 hours late, laying in the floor, passed out, tore up on whatever, passed out, been laying there for 6 hours, is now sat up, and the first person I see is Ken Shamrock. And so, me being the entertaining Jamie Dundee, everybody's sitting around, or it's fixing to go live, and I've been up for 5 hours, and I got an $800 cab bill, and it's Kenny's first day. He's feeling weird anyway, probably. So I just say, "What's your name, boy?" And he's lacing his boot, and he looks at me like, "You talking to me?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm talking to you." He goes, "My name's Ken," and he goes back to lacing his boots. So I jump up and I say, "Ken, is that what we're supposed to call you around here, Shooter Boy?" Because he's got them little bitty tights on, right? And I'm like, "Shooter Boy, do you know where you are? This is the WWF where the big boys play." Now everybody's starting to pop, man. They're all starting to look around. They're thinking, "Oh, this is going to be great." Oh, Kenny don't know Dundee from nobody, but that Dundee's going to eat him up. And so I said, "Well, come on." I jumped up and I said, Come on, Kenny, Shooter Boy." I said, "Horace Gracie done told me you got a weak knee, son." I said, "Come on in there. Get you some of Dundee." And I throw that leg out there and I make that little stance. I say, "This is a WWF where the big boys play." I said, "Get you some of Dundee, badass." I said, "They done told me about you, boy." And so he just like looking around like, are y'all serious? This dude. And so he just stands up and I go, big old Ken Shamrock gonna beat up little Jamie Dundee. He ain't nothing but a bully, man. I see a bully ass punk gonna beat up Jamie Dundee. And so now he's like, shit. He just sits back down like, "Oh my God, what just happened right here?" And everybody pops and they all laugh and we go on about our day. And then the next week I see him and I'm like, "How are you, sir?" "Jamie Dundee." He's like, "Oh, I know." Because I don't really remember that day. I just was told about that day from many, many people throughout life.
Gotcha.
And as they told me, little pieces of it have came back to me. But I should have never been there, but it was just one of them moments that only I could have got away with that. As Wolfie would say, only Dundee could have got away with challenging Ken Shamrock like that. Because, I mean, he's Ken Shamrock. And speaking of that, see right here, look, I have my UFC autographed Ken Shamrock gloves. Still got it to this day because, he's Ken Shamrock, baby, the world's most dangerous man. But only I could have got away with saying that, I guess, because, he would have just killed most people. But what are you going to do when the guy cowards out. You know, I say, "Oh, you big old bully, beat up little Jamie Dundee. You badass, ain't you, son?" And everybody starts laughing. And he just like, "Shit, this dude's nuts."
Yeah, exactly. Yep, yep. With ECW, I know you do fight the Dudley Boys on pay-per-view. I know you had a big match with the Eliminators too. Was there supposed to be more in ECW for PG-13?
Yeah, very much so. It was supposed to be, but because we did that 90-second job. And here's another thing that at the time I call Paul Heyman out right there. Now we're fixing to go live Monday Night Raw, and Heyman's in the building. I say, Paul, I got a question right now. If we do this job for the Road Warriors, is our job in jeopardy at ECW? What else can he say but no? You know what I mean? If he says yes, then we're going to walk out the building. He's going to get heat for saying, yeah, you see what I'm saying? But at the time, I was hoping he would just tell me the truth and I would have left the building. But because we did the 90-second job for the Road Warriors, the very next week when we fly into ECW, the week before we're in the main event with the Eliminators, that week I'm first match with Mike Dudley. I'm Spike Dudley, and Wolfie's second match with Mikey Whipwreck. And I said, oh, shit, man. It was one of those. I don't even know why. I was so smart to the game that it slipped by me, man. I'm like, I can't believe I just let that shit happen. Of course, we shouldn't have done the job for the Road Warriors in 90 seconds, because now we're dead on the ECW TV. We, if the Road Warriors beat us in 90 seconds, we can't go against the Eliminators and make them people believe, And so shit. But at that moment, I said, Paul Heyman, is my job in jeopardy at ECW? Because if so, fuck this place. I'm out of here. He can't very well say yes, because if he does, then they're going to be, you know what I'm saying? But at the time, it didn't dawn on me. And we did the job in 90 seconds, and it was a comedy job, and we stole the show, and it was fun as shit. And the people talk about it still to this day. But also, when we flew in the next week, then it dawned on me. Oh, shit, Wolfie. Oh, man, we should have did that job. You know what I mean? It was like, yep. God, I knew better. But and when I said to Heyman, is my job, he can't say yes. Because if he does, then the ECW invasion thing never, you know what I'm saying? None of that happens, just because that's how childish the promoters are in the wrestling business. Vince, Heyman should have said, yeah, Dundee, if you do this job, I can't work you against my Eliminators. I'd be like, hell yeah, and we would have left. But then, Vince and him, I don't know if it would have even mattered at all. But the point is, he can't tell me yes right there on the spot. He just can't do it. And he never ever said, Jamie, this is why. I knew as soon as we landed and went to the building, then when I got the program and it said first match JCI versus Spike Dudley. Oh, shit, I know what just happened here. But, that's part of life, learning experience. But I already knew that. I should have known better to begin with, because saw my dad fire many people for things, So I'm like, damn it, I can't believe I let that slip by me, man.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But definitely, we were supposed to be a lot. It was going to be the Gangsters, the Eliminators, and us. And I do believe he was going to build it for Public Enemy versus PG-13, because
makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. But then again, to our credit, Paul Heyman one time said, never in the history of wrestling is a building ready for Jamie Dundee and Johnny Grunge at the same time. So that will never, ever take place. He said, I just can't put you two dudes in the same town. I cannot, and I will not be responsible. So I guess me and old Johnny Grunge, we hung out many nights after the shows, them working with somebody else. But I guess I understand where Paul Heyman's coming from. So
can't have you two crazy bastards together. That's
yeah, definitely. JC Ice and Johnny Grunge, we would have tore some shit. It would have been a damn sure would have made CNN news.
Yes.
So I understand. I fully understand.
Now, you guys briefly showed up in WCW, late 99, basically early 2000. Was that supposed to be something longer? Because it's like, oh, yes, PG-13's here, and then you guys are gone before I know it.
Yeah, but we're gone because Jarrett's gone, and the whole the Russos, they're all gone. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that, once again, in life, depends on what side you take. When it was Russo and Jarrett. To cut a long story short, me and Wolfie were working security for Rock Solid Security in Nashville, which Wolfie's stepdad ran, Big Pete. We're working security, and so Jeff Jarrett's coming to sell advance tickets to the Nashville Municipal Auditorium for WCW. So I say to Pete, let me and Wolfie guard him. And he's like, what? I said, let us guard him. So when the limo pulls up and Jeff gets out, it's me and Wolfie standing there. And I open the door, follow me, Mr. Jarrett. And he's like, what in the hell are y'all doing? I said, making $10 an hour, sir. Please follow me to your destination. And so we sit with him all day long as he's selling tickets, you know, as the security guys, and we're talking. And so, and then, of course, once again, I say, Jeff, we're starving to death. He goes, shit, I got y'all a job Monday. We started Monday. That was on a Friday, Monday Night Nitro. We started. But we went in with the Jarrett and then the Russo side, and you know they bring back Bischoff and said Jarrett and them are kind of they lose, so we were on the wrong side. So once again, we were, you know, because they brought everybody to the ring, and then they brought Bischoff back, and they were going to bond them, you know, they were going to put.
Yeah.
But then I think Ted Turner said, "I'm not spending no more of my money on this garbage. Get rid of all of them." So they closed it down. But I mean, once again, we definitely was, you know, we was going to start the angle with 3 count, and we was going to start the angle with the Marmaduke and every, and so then once again, we chose the wrong side. If Dundee would have chose the wrong side in the 70s, we wouldn't have been here anyway. He had the right side. Once again, I chose the wrong side. But I would, if I had to do it again, I would have chose Jarrett and Russo over them too. So it is what it is. But definitely it was, we were supposed to, but the company shut down. I mean, they shut down in 2001, right? Just like right after. I mean, we got hired in 2000. We did every Monday Night Nitro from the new, they were calling it the new generation or the new whatever,
the new
something
blood,
new. Yeah. And sure enough, I think after we left, it closed down in 2 or 3, 4 months actually, because, you know, I remember Perry Saturn saying, man, you know, that's another guy. He did everything right, except, you know, when Vince bought it up or whatever the hell happened there, you know, he didn't have a spot for him. Guy didn't have nowhere to go, man. Ended up homeless under a bridge. That's a damn shame, man. I don't know what the hell happened. This phone's crazy, man.